Grand Rising. Grand Rising. Grand Rising. Grand Rising. Grand Rising, family. Grand Rising, y'all. Get on up in here. Stop standing outside. You know they shadow banning us, so go ahead and let your friends know that we about to do it again right here on the morning mental. The true wake-up call for the black race and anybody else who has aspirations of being black, anybody who has hope for the black race. This is where you want to pull up, where we can get a couple things on your mind this morning. Small group, only allowed in. This is not for everybody. That's why I'm not letting 120,000 people in this time. I'm only letting in those people who are the chosen ones, the remnant. Grand Rising to you all, as we come together again in the earth realm on another day in the classroom of developing your soul. On this day, I bid you a grand rising. Got a couple of things that we got to handle early this morning, and then I will send you on your way to start your day. I bid all of the children of the Most High a grand rising this morning. All praises to the Most High, because he orders the footsteps of the righteous. Please do not be inconsiderate of your other family members. Do not DM me. Do not try to contact me in the middle of this talk with the people. It will get you banned and ejected from this group permanently. There are no exceptions. Never interrupt the flow when the Creator is using one of his tools to speak to his children. There will be no further warnings. We're going to turn off the commentary this morning because some people have told me that they find it to be a distraction, that some of you are not here for the teaching, that you are only here for clout chasing, and you are here as if this is a social club. So at this time, all commentary is, and if you cannot sit and listen, then you are in the wrong place anyway. So let us go ahead and turn off the commentary. If we can get that for me, please, gentlemen. Turn off commenting at this time. Thank you. Comments are now no longer allowed for this particular session. You can express your opinions and you can express your joy in other mediums. But we have had people who said, I come here to get a word. I come here so that I know I'm not crazy. I come here because I want to hear a black man speak. So I bid you a grand rising. The purpose of the morning mental has always been that before I allow anything into my mind, before I allow anything to distract me that the enemy may place in front of me, before I allow anyone to sever the connection that I have with the Most High, as we have all been walking in the dream realm, while our souls have been disassociated from our bodies, while our bodies recharge, because you've already been taught and told that the soul can only stay in the body for so long before it becomes toxic. So your soul must leave the body so that the body can recharge. When you return to the body, there is a brief period of time where your soul is still coming through what we call the filter. That is why most people cannot remember their dreams, because you are not supposed to. You're not supposed to bring that knowledge back into the earth realm. However, it is the creator who allows his chosen ones to keep pieces, just pieces of the knowledge that he shares with us, knowing the power of what some of that knowledge could do to the students that are in the class. So the purpose of the morning mental, for those of y'all who don't know where it came from, the morning mental was born out of the necessity for some of us to have an anchor in the crazy first days of the quarantine and the pandemic. Those people who were trapped in their homes, who didn't know when they would be let out, who didn't know who to talk to, who found out they didn't have any real friends because their friends never called them during the quarantine. Do you know how many people you didn't hear from during the quarantine? They didn't even call to check up on you. They didn't even try to find out if you had everything. The quarantine snuck up on some people, the same way that the pandemic snuck up on some people. Well, there are some people who read the signs, saw the writing on the wall, were prepared, and made sure that they tried to keep a hand and a rope out to those of us who were not prepared. So the morning mental was born out of those people who needed to hear a word of assurance from other brothers and sisters. Because one thing that the pandemic taught us was that something I kept telling you was going to happen. That when it hits the fan, no matter how much people pretend to be kumbaya, pretend to be your friend, to pretend to talk about inclusiveness and diversity, that when it hits the fan, people tend to look out for their own kind. They don't mean to do it, but they don't have any choice when the majority of them are doing it. So those of you all who think you're safe, those of y'all who have separated yourself from the melanin people, those of you all who have disavowed any connection mentally, spiritually, or physically with the race that you belong to, and you have assimilated yourself into the other race thinking that you're better than those that were created that you look like, that when it hits the fan, you gonna find out, like a lot of people gonna find out, that when it all goes down, you know, those people you thought had your back, you know, Jim, Bob, and Karen, that you thought had accepted you because they didn't believe in what they mom and pops believe in. Y'all got it twisted. Let me teach you something about the true power behind what they call racism. It is not about whether or not you believe in something. Racism was always driven by profit and fear. So yeah, everybody's kumbaya with you as long as everything is cool. But as soon as stuff start going up in flames, as soon as you got to fight over the last piece of food, as soon as you don't know where your next drink of fresh water is coming from, as soon as you don't know whether or not you're going to have clothes on your back next week, as soon as you see your babies starving and complaining, talking about mama, help me, daddy, give me something to eat. As soon as you find out that there's bloodshed that's in the street, and the bloodshed is along the lines of the color of your skin, and no one is taking the time to find out who you kumbaya with. Last time I checked, they don't hand out a card to all of you sold out Sambos that when some stuff pop off, everybody will be like, well, I was going to kill you, but you got the card. No, they're not going to do that. Same way a lot of black people think that if it all goes down, that before they shoot you, they'll be like, hold on a minute before I shoot you. Now, are you a Muslim? Are you a Christian? Are you a Hebrew Israelite? Are you an atheist? What are you before I shoot? They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're just going to bust you in your ass because you black. You think that when they come to get you, that they're going to stop and say, now, hold on a second. We was going to shoot you, but you are a Democrat or a Republican. Oh, ain't nobody going to do none of that. Your card is going to get pulled based on the cover that you keep, not the company. Let me say that to you again. Your card is going to be pulled based on the color and not the card. I'm not going to hold y'all too long. That's the purpose of the morning mental. So now that we have deciphered what that means, I invite you all to sit quietly and absorb that I'm going to give you. And if you don't want to do that, remember, you clicked on my profile. You can always go somewhere else. I want to send a big shout out to all of the brothers and sisters that are rightly dividing the word and consuming it as it was meant to be served to you, and metamorphosizing into the true black people that you truly are. Please don't become offended. This is a pro-black page. We talk about pro-black topics to move the people forward, not to pull the people backwards. And since we can no longer trust the media, even the ones that look like us, we have to come to places like this to get a dose of the truth. Not just truth of worldly events, but truth of spiritual events, truth of ancestral events, truth of survival events. We have to tell ourselves. In other words, when we were growing up, y'all remember that old slave ritual, spiritual they used to teach to us? Go tell it on the mountain. Have all y'all out there singing. I used to always wonder where the hell was the mountain. I never said, well, what mountain do we go tell it on? Because last time I checked, ain't nobody up on no mountain saying nothing. I don't get it. You see, because those were things that were handed down to us without telling us what they were. So I got 3 things I needed to talk to y'all about this morning. I'm not going to hold you long. I know we got better things to do. If you have a friend who is desperately in need to hear a morning mental tip, you might want to reach out to them and let them know he's on the air. Again, it is the morning mental. Big shout out to Sleep is for the Rich down in Shreveport, Louisiana. Thank you, my brother, the young brother, for coming to stand with the NFAC when we came down to Lafayette, Louisiana. Oh, y'all thought we forgot. I haven't forgot about Clay. No. Y'all don't know. Let me help you out. You see, a sitting U.S. congressman threatened American citizens with death and destruction and violence for exercising our constitutional rights. So we pulled up. A lot of people want to talk about it, but the fact that when someone talks about you, let's see if you pull up. We pulled up, and of course, nothing happened. The congressman was MIA after he faked an apology. And of course, none of the good old boys that made the threats came out, and neither were they good, but they were boys. We didn't see them either. But I do salute everybody that did come out. I bring that up because it appears to me that some people have got it twisted. So let us untwist them this morning, because people who don't understand the existence and the reason for existence of the NFAC obviously have never had any experience dealing with an organized resistance that addresses issues that affect the people, not just a person. So, with that being said, I have a question. Who in their right mind thought for 2 seconds that you could publicly threatening me is one thing. I can hold my own, but and I know I'm gonna have to turn the comment back on because I want to see what the sister's gonna have to say about this. But threatening my sisters, especially a sister who's trying to walk on behalf of her people, well, we take that as a threat on the race. I want to talk to you all this morning about some very disturbing news that has come to our attention. And when I use the words come to my attention, you know 9 times out of 10 what that means. As you all know, one of the first, let me back up a second. How many of y'all remember your favorite recording artist when you first heard them and you fell in love with their music? I don't care whether it was rap, hip hop, pop, whatever. People tend to believe that when a person has a hit record or when a person becomes incredibly popular because of acting or whatever, people tend to think that they came out of nowhere. The truth of the matter is, when you get these people on talk shows, you'll find out that they've been doing it for a while. They just finally rose to a level of recognition where the masses saw them. It doesn't mean that they just started. It means that they finally got an audience big enough that includes you. Look at, and I love to use him as an example. Look at 2 Chainz. Anyone from Atlanta knows that 2 Chainz had another name, which I won't say on this particular broadcast. I find it offensive to my sisters. But what I found out was he had been around for a long time. He'd been around for a long time. But when he finally blew up, everybody was running around. I'm not going to go through some of his materials, but he actually had been around for a while. Same thing when you see certain actors, when you see certain musicians, when you see certain authors, they've been writing for a while, and then they, quote unquote, as we like to say, blow up. They blow up. Those of you all who are not plugged into that particular blowing up tend to think that, well, why is this person getting all of this attention now? And why? You don't take the time to research their background. You come to find out, oh, wow, this person performed in clubs for X amount of years and they wrote to somebody in the background, or they were background singers for so long. I'll give you a prime example. I'm going to tell you why I'm telling you this. I remember back in the day, there was a young lady who came out of nowhere. Y'all remember Lisa Fisher? Mm-hmm. Big shout out Lisa Fisher. Lisa Fisher came out with a song called How Can I Ease the Pain? Old school talk to me. OGs, where you at? And the song knocked everybody on their what, knocked them down. We like, who is this with this voice? And oh, wow. Everybody just lost it. However, there was some of us who sat back and said, Lisa? Oh, we know Lisa. Lisa used to be a background singer for Luther Vandross. Y'all don't know nothing about Luther. OGs, y'all need to school the youngins, okay? OGs need to school the youngins on real music. Luther, at his height, when Luther pulled up on stage, Luther, everybody who was in the background, everybody who was in the band, everybody who worked with Luther Vandross, was a star in their own right, or they went on to become, here we come with the Luther jokes. No, let me help you out, OGs, also. Most people don't remember that Luther came from a group called Change. Yes, we're going back. Change had a song out called Searching, which I should bring back. Matter of fact, I might bump that tonight on the Facts Over Feeling, because y'all done made me go back in my stash now. But Luther came out of a group called Change, and then Luther blew up. And before you know it, a house was not a home, and Superstar to You returned. And Luther was, if you heard Luther, sisters will walk in the crib like, oh, you playing that Luther. Here we go. Luther was the music that you played that was akin to Solomon. We talking Big Lou, not Lil Lou. See, I got some OGs on here. See, because Luther made being big sexy way before Heavy D and the Boys came along, way before the Fat Boys ate pizza. Luther Vandross, Big Luther. I'm not talking about Lil Luther. We're not going to talk about Lil Luther. Big Luther. But then Luther birthed a bunch of stars themselves. Anytime you have people like Ray Goodman and Brown singing background for you, you know everybody in the background is going to grow up to be a star, or they're going to be a star there shortly. You see, you used to have to cut your teeth on the road. You had to cut your teeth you had to know how to follow before the music industry let you lead. And that's why a lot of people that you see today were birthed by somebody else, because they played their position, stayed in their lane, and did their best, showed up and showed out. Yes, I remember the best part of Big Luther. Y'all remember Big Luther would come out with that blue blazer on that was made of glitter, and he would float across the stage like a gallon of milk. And Luther didn't move. Luther wasn't like, Chris Brown and all of them. I know I'm going off topic, but I got to say it. He wasn't doing all these I stole Michael Jackson moves. Luther didn't have to do that. Luther would stand on one side of the stage in the spotlight and sing to you, but everything else on the stage was moving. The piano was moving. The ballet dancer on the piano was moving. The background singers was ooh-wopping. Ray Goodman and Brown was two-stepping. The drummer was bouncing up and down. But Luther, in those blue suede shoes used to slide across the stage. And I'm going to be real with you, sisters. I'm going to tell you right now. I used to go to Luther shows and get mad. Because I was standing there. You could take your, you don't take, look, bros knew not to take your girl to see Luther. Because you were just the ride. You were the Uber. Because as soon as 250-pound Luther, 350-pound Luther rolled out on the stage, and they used to do is they put the spotlight on Luther. And he would just stand there and sing and blow your mind. But Luther birthed Lisa Fisher. And as she appeared to come out of nowhere. Yes, she did, but she didn't. She had done her work. She had put in the time, and then she blew up. And I use Lisa Fisher because I can keep citing so many examples of people who have risen to prominence, and no one knows the path that they took to get there. You only see when they get to the finish line. You never seen how they got there. Why do I take all of this time to say this to you? Because there are many of you that are tuned in right now to Facts Over Feelings and the Morning Mental. There are many of you right now trying to find some way to find out about how InFact was created and where did I come from and why do I have such a crazy past? What you fail to realize is I've been here for a long, long time and I haven't been quiet. I knocked on many doors, turned many doorknobs, jumped off of many bridges, tried to put on many faces, trying to get my people free. And eventually, things line up and you're lifted up to the position when he's ready to put you in that position. So stop sitting around trying to figure out where I came from. You can see where I came from, but you shouldn't worry where I came from. You need to look at where I am. Because where I am is where you are. And if you're not in the same place that I am, then you too are still down there trying to get to the level where you can actually affect the people. But once you put in the work, and not the kind of work that people are talking about where you done sat around and gave lectures and made books and sold CDs and little trinkets and t-shirts and stuff like that. That's not the work. The work is actually going out and confronting, not talking to, not paying lip service to, but confronting those things that are pressing down on us as a people and push them back to give us space to do our thing. So when I heard this information that came to me this morning, this is the kind of issue that draws the attention of an organization that is concerned about how we are perceived as a people. That is why it pains me so desperately enough when I hear my own brothers and sisters who are so selfish and small-minded that they think it's them and us, when in fact we're all one group. And if they decide to wipe out us includes you too. Y'all remember when we first came to prominence? In your eyes, you think back to Stone Mountain, Georgia. You think back to the first time, oh, I saw that. I was amazed. You was amazed. You shouldn't have been amazed. You should have been, oh, that's what I've been waiting on. Let's get it. But most of y'all don't remember the work that was put in before that to get us there. You don't remember. Most of y'all just completely forget about Brunswick and Ahmaud Arbery. Y'all just totally dismiss that. You go straight to Stone Mountain. And then before Ahmaud Arbery, a lot of y'all forget about Dayton. Y'all act like that didn't happen. See, bruh's been walking around with guns for a minute, but y'all didn't pay it no mind because they were putting in the work. And let me clarify this one more time. The NFAC is not from Georgia. We are not based in Atlanta. That is a lie and a misperception that is put out by the media because they never want to give credit where credit is due. They know that we came from everywhere and that they can't figure out where we are anywhere. So we didn't pop up in Georgia. We didn't grow up out of Georgia. Georgia just happened to be the most racist hotspot at the time, with the McMichaels killing Ahmaud Arbery, and then the white supremacists making a threat against black people on July 4th. We pulled up to where they normally are. Why do I bring that up? Because most people don't know that Stone Mountain, Georgia is where they had the rebirth of the KKK. You see, the KKK had been eliminated. But just like the Nephilim came back, as I'm teaching you in the series, NPA, that the KKK came back. But they came back with a different slant. Must I teach you again? The Ku Klux Klan was not invented for black people. So get off your high horse. It was invented to stop Irish Catholics from coming to the United States and trying to bring their religious practices and their ways to the Protestant folks that were already here. In other words, white people were looking down on their own kind. You see, they thought the Irish were lower than them. Yes, I hear a lot of Irish people say, well, I was a slave too. Yeah, but your slavery, your indentured servitude to your own people is different than the violent enslavement that they subjected Africans and indigenous people of the United States in the Portuguese slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade. That wasn't the same as you coming from poor, meager beginnings in Ireland to come over here to your rich white cousins who wanted you to work it off. That's different. So I don't say that you all had it any better than what you had under your people. That's y'all problem. But the kidnapping, the beating, the murdering, the raping, the thingifying, the dehumanization of black people is not the same. So y'all stop that. The Ku Klux Klan, for those of y'all who are too uneducated and too stubborn to do your research, was invented by white people against white people. That's how it started. And right after they released all of us from the plantation, that particular Klan was actually hunted down and eliminated by the U.S. government. They were reborn in Stone Mountain, Georgia. So we went to the home of the Klan to confront them, knocked on their door, pulled up, used the phone, stopped up the toilet, ate up all the food, did everything we could to let them know we're in your house to serve justice on a threat you made against our people. And as usual, they were not there, and the ones that were escorted out of the park. Y'all need to learn the whole story before you run your mouth about the show story. Why do I bring this up? Why is he telling us all of this morning? Jay, where are you going with this? What happened? I'm going to tell you what happened in case you ain't heard what happened. You see, the true birthplace of the Ku Klux Klan is not in Georgia. As a matter of fact, it's not even in the South. The true home of the Ku Klux Klan is Indiana. Oh yeah, in the Midwest, in the heart of America. And you know the significance of Indiana. I remember back in the early 90s, there used to be a small military post called Fort Benjamin Harrison. Fort Benjamin Harrison sat in the northeastern portion of Indianapolis, Indiana. Back in the early 90s, Indianapolis, Indiana was a very pro-black city. They had the black yellow pages. I mean, of course, they had things like the Indianapolis 500 and things like that. And, you know, they had a football team and all kind of good stuff going on. But it was a very pro-black city. But there was something we knew about Indianapolis if you ever went to Naptown. Naptown, stand up. And that is that as long as you were inside of Indianapolis, you were in a pro-black city. But the moment you set foot out of the boundaries of Indianapolis, you were in racist ass. Get your ass lynched. Nobody asked no questions. Disappear your ass. Indiana. And all those places around Indiana that I've had a chance to visit, like Bloomington and Gary. And yes, Fort Wayne. Y'all remember the story I did about the young man that was lynched in the back of his 18-wheeler from North Carolina that they found up in Fort Wayne. So everybody from Indiana, stand up. All my brothers and sisters, stand up. But I'm giving you some history. The Klan was born out of the state of Indiana. And the reason Let me give y'all a little bit of more history. When I went to Fort Benjamin Harrison, everyone congratulated me. This is something that a lot of y'all can't understand. I need to talk about this. But back in the day, sisters, there were certain places where there were more of you than there were of us. Let's just keep it 100. Certain places there were more of you because they had lynched and killed so many of us black men that we moved away. Indianapolis was no different. Therefore, the ratio of women to men was somewhere around 12-1. Anybody who's an OG, help me out. Remember, if you went to Naptown, you could be there. You could be the humpback of Notre Dame. You could be, one tooth with a jerk curl to the side and an earring missing with one leg shorter than the other. When you pulled up in Naptown, you thought you was a pimp because women was all over you. Not because you was good looking, not because you had money, not because you was the only option. When I got stationed in Indianapolis, I'm not going to lie to y'all, I was there not even, oh my God, 2 hours. 2 hours. I'll never forget this. I got to tell a sick sidebar. 2 hours. And I found myself, now I just got to town. I don't know nobody. I just checked in at the base, dropped off my bags, met my bros and whatnot. And I noticed everybody was on their way out the door, but I'm trying to hang out. And their payphone, y'all remember payphone? The payphone on the wall rang. I'm trying to be a good soldier. So I picked up the phone and said hello. And they asked for somebody I did not know. And so I hollered down the hall, yo, anybody know so-and-so? And they said he graduated, he gone. And I said, I'm sorry, ma'am, but the person you calling about, see, back then sisters used to call up on the base because they was looking for real bros and say, he's gone. Oh, he gone. Well, who are you? Excuse me, who are you? I'm so-and-so and so. Really, you want to come to a card party? I didn't think they was serious. I think I partied for the next 4 days nonstop. I had to call for help. Y'all got to come get me. These sisters got me hostage over here. Where is all? They said, bruh, it ain't no bruhs here. You got to refocus and play your position different up here. Really? I say that to say this. There were no brothers predominantly in that area because of the Klan. Indiana. The Vice President of the United States is from Indiana. Yes, Mike Pence, the Vice President of the United States, is from Indiana. When he was tapped to be the Vice President, there were a lot of people that were like, you sure you want to put this bruh in the White House? Knowing what that meant. But see, they knew what was coming, even if you all didn't. The same way you did not know that I was running for the presidency to expose what was coming, and y'all still got it twisted and backwards. The pull-up master, yes, and I pulled up quite a few places where I was the only one that pulled up because I saw it coming. But now that they done played their hand and you all can see how racist they are and you all can see what they've done with this country, you all can see that not only did the South rise again, but the KKK disguise has risen again and the ringleaders are sitting in power. They holding all the cards, right? Well, here come the problem. In the season that we're in right now, it looks like some interesting things are going on out in the state of Indiana. The vice president's brother is running for a congressional seat. His brother is running against a black woman. The woman's name is, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Jeannie or Janine or Jenny Ann. I don't want to screw up her name. I got to find out. Or Janine Lee Lake. She's running against the vice president's brother for the congressional seat in Indiana. Sister girl up there trying to stand up, do the right thing, figures that it's time for If Indiana truly wants to prove that they're not the racist place that they are, then maybe this is the time that a sister is attempting to run for that particular seat, and she's running against the vice president's brother. Now, why has this come to the attention of the NFAC? Why has this come to the attention of me? The reason being is because the other day it was reported that this particular woman was out campaigning and doing whatever she does, and she's got her staff and they're doing what they do, and apparently some shots were fired. Shots were fired in her direction. Shots were fired at this woman. Shots were fired at a sister who just happens to be running up against the brother of the vice president of the United States in the home of the Ku Klux Klan. That this happened yesterday. And so we're just starting to get some of the details, but there is a newspaper down there called the Muncie Star Press. They said that Lake was in her car and her name was on the side of the car because, you know, she's campaigning. This happened on Thursday, October the 15th. Let me be correct. They said that her and 3 other witnesses reported hearing gunshots. One of the witnesses said that several shots may have flown over Lake's car. Now, I got to stop right there because hold on a second. You can't tell if bullets is flying over the car unless you have the ability to see bullets. You can't, no. Now, if something whizzes past your ear, I'm with you. Okay. But to sit there, they were shooting at us and we saw the bullets flying over the car. Come on, stop that. Stop that. I want you to do your research and pull up that name. Her name, again, as I said before, is Jeanine Lee Lake. I'm going to be reaching out to Miss Lake. I will be reaching out to get the inside scoop. I don't too particularly trust the media trying to hype up things and trying to put up distractions. But the idea that you all think that you can shoot at a sister who is running against the brother of the vice president. See, y'all done took it too far. You're gone too far. So, I hate to say it, but y'all know where I'm going with this, is that Miss Lake may need some security. Miss Lake might need to have the NFAC have arms wrapped around her. And you all will begin to see that we do more than just walk around. We just don't have. Somebody asked me how you spell her name. It's Jeannine. Jeanine. I'm going to find out because I'm going to talk to Miss Lake and find out what actually happened out there. The story, as it goes on to say, is that she says that the police are not doing anything about this. She says that they told her they can't find no proof of gunshots. They can't find no shells anywhere. They say they can't find nothing. Nobody heard nothing. Nobody saw nothing. Nobody know nothing. If it was anywhere but Indiana, I'd be like, well, yeah, maybe they heard a car backfire or whatever. However, because I know the history of Indiana and because I know the climate that we live in right now, I would submit to you all that you get yourself smart up on this story because Miss Lake deserves to be protected and afforded the opportunity to avail herself to the political process just like anybody else. And we will not be intimidated. We will not be terrorized. We will not be insinuated, and we damn sure won't be demonified. We will defend our race at all costs. Miss Lake is a member of our race. She's running for a congressional seat for the state of Indiana. Now, it would be historical to see a black woman ascend to the congressional seat for racist ass Indiana, for behind the times, 20 years behind the times Indiana. So I can imagine why all the Edomites are scared right now, because for the history that you have in that particular state and the message that it was send across all of America, I can understand why you want to shut that down. Keep that in the box. See, this is the problem, white folks. You come on my page and then you try to express your fear and your guilt guilt tripping of what you've done to us. But then when we decide that we want to circle the wagons to protect one of our own, you want to try to belittle it. You want to talk about the negativity. But we're not the ones that's out here threatening people. We're not the ones that are out here shooting at people because we don't agree. We're not the ones out here that we know that we're about to lose our position as top dog. So we will resort to violence because we can't think of any other way. We're not the ones doing that. We're the response. And that's what you don't want. See, it's easy to bully somebody when they won't fight back. But when you know they'll knock your ass into next week, all of a sudden you want to turn around and come back and start talking about, we need to have some discussion. Fuck talking. We already did that. It didn't work. Well, maybe we should all hold hands and march. Fuck that. We already tried that. It didn't work. Well, maybe we need to change some laws. You won't let nobody get in the office. The lady trying to get in the office so they can change some laws. I tried to get in the office so we could change some laws. Fuck that. We tried that. It didn't work. So now guess what? When we start to meet you doing the same thing, let me back up. When we start doing what you keep talking about, you see, you talk about it all the time. You threaten and you always make mysterious anonymous phone calls. Y'all do little coward ass shit like blow people up in churches when they know y'all soft target motherfuckers. But then when we decide to meet you and personify what you said you were going to do, all of a sudden it's let's go get these people and let's go get these people and let's go put these laws in effect because you don't want to feel that which you think you can inflict on other people and there not be some type of retribution. This is 2020. I know y'all been up there drinking moonshine and got straws in your mouth sitting on the porch talking about, yep, no, nigga, that ain't happening. Because you should have been paying attention to the fact that there is an entity, an animal that is walking this soil right now, that if you put the bait out, it will show up. So y'all hold on. I have to reach out to candidate Lake and get her take on the situation because it looked like we might have to put some protection around the good possible congresswoman. I want y'all to stay aware of this story because they're not hyping this up. The media is not going to tell you about it. But this is what I mean when we say these are the reasons that we exist. It is not whether or not we support her political views. It is the fact that no one else is running around shooting at none of these other people that's out here running for all these offices. So why is the sister getting shot at? Once I get all the facts, I'll let you know. Because they always want to tell you, y'all got to rock the vote. Y'all got to rock the vote. Let me pivot on you. Rock the vote. Let me give rock the vote a whole new meaning. Are you all aware that there's an asteroid that's headed this way that's supposed to come, almost hit us, might hit us? They keep changing the story right before election day. Is y'all trying to tell us something? Is y'all trying to say y'all got it twisted? I told you to go down and establish laws and governments based on my authority, not your authority. So therefore, let me have to throw a rock into the water to get your attention. Yes, I've been telling y'all about this for about 6 months. And isn't it ironic that now that the time has come, that the clock has reached that point on the TikTok, that you are beginning to hear the media? I told you they was going to say something at the last minute. They don't warn you all of anything because they don't care about you surviving anything. They rather see most of us die in some catastrophe so that they can come out and reap all of the resources. Mo for me. Y'all remember Mo for me? Mo for me is what you used to say when somebody could not be there to partake in a share. Then you'd be like, ooh, Mo for me, Mo for me. So if something was going to happen to this world, you think they would tell you when they got all these resources that they can rebuild the world without you? Not gonna happen. So let me make you aware in case you haven't been keeping up. Yes, we've been talking about it for a while, but there's a couple of problems. I'm gonna have to talk about that for a quick second too. I'm on my morning mental. Y'all better be aware of these things as you go through the day because they're not gonna tell you in the what I call mind control media. Now we got civil unrest. We have a divisive U.S. election coming up. And now you got an asteroid coming straight to you one day before the presidential vote. You know, it's interesting. I got a lot of media reaching out to me right now, asking me my opinion on this election and whether or not the NFAC will be out defending polling places, or if there's some type of uprising because Face don't want to leave the White House, what we gonna do? I won't engage in that conversation because we got bigger fish to fry. But what I do find ironic is that if this meteor that they're talking about, who keeps changing sizes, it keeps changing sizes. Okay, I wish I could tell y'all what's going on right now. Y'all know I gets down with the ghetto ducks, right? You know, the ghetto ducks have been assembling for the last so many days. Matter of fact, it's almost like they're having a ghetto duck convention. They're coming in from everywhere. They're coming in squads. Then they all congregating on the lake. And I think they about to jump off and go south. You know what I'm saying? But to see them coming in is a beautiful thing because they coming in like we do when the NFAC shows up. They showing up in chapters. The ghetto ducks got family. I'm watching. They got the pink ducks. They got the ducks with the one stripe. They got the fat ducks. They even got what I call the argumentative ducks. I don't know who the hell these motherfuckers are, but they've been arguing. They flew in loud and they sitting loud and all the other ducks is looking at them like, bro, we don't do all that over here, but that whole crew that just showed up, blah, 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 blah. They just going at it. Even when they land on the water, they still arguing and shit. I'm like, who? This is the loud crew. They here too. I'm going to have to take y'all out after they all arrive because I've never seen anything like this. He's wonderful how he works because they're organized and they don't even have jobs. They're organized and they don't even have cell phones. They organize and they don't care what you did or who you did it with. They organize. They all on code. Have y'all ever noticed that you might think ducks are stupid, but then all of a sudden one of them will stand up and look at the sky and go quack, quack, quack. And then all the other ones will look at him and say, what you say? And he said, I said quack, quack, quack. And then the other ones will say it again, and he'll say quack, quack, quack. And then all of them will stand behind him and he'll say it one more time and they take off in formation. In a perfect V. He leading the way. They all saying quack, 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 and they gone. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen. You would never think, I couldn't even pick out who the leader was until he led. Let me say it again. You can't pick out who the leader is until they lead. But getting back to the asteroid that's coming in, please be aware that this election, for as contentious as they act like it may be, we might not be dealing with that. We might have, you see, man gets so preoccupied in his own business that he doesn't realize that he has no business. It is written, the world is mine and everything in it, including you. So the chess pieces are sitting down trying to elect a new king and a new queen. The chess pieces is trying to figure out who gonna be the new rook and new bishop. The chess pieces are trying to figure out who's getting demoted from a knight down to a pawn. But what all y'all forget to realize is you're sitting on a chessboard that I own. So if I decide to swap up some things and do something different, if I decide to take one of the black kings and stick it down on the white side and he be the only black king and take the white king and stick him up there with the black side, I can do that. They can't do that. They don't have the power to do that. They don't move like that, but I can pick one of y'all up and put you somewhere where you never thought you would be, put you around people you never thought you'd be around, and put you in a position of power. Can I teach this morning? We on my morning mental. So therefore, it looks to me like the creator is saying, y'all down here arguing over an election, huh? Fighting over people that aren't yours. Trying to control a land that's not yours, trying to control the destiny and the final outcome of a people that are mine. Can't you see me raising an army? Can't you see me controlling the weather? Oh, so y'all gonna just ignore all of the warning signs. Y'all going to ignore everything that I've told y'all about. Y'all gonna ignore what I told you to watch the skies. Y'all gonna ignore all of that and have your little petty election. Okay, you know how you throw a rock in a pond to cause waves? Well, isn't it ironic that on this particular day, he's trying to get y'all attention and people are not paying attention. And I'm sitting here with my mind blowed, wig pulled back, because y'all really that, you know what? It's almost like when, think about this, in the last days before the big flood came, I'm pretty sure that Noah, see, y'all think, Noah was he was a drunk. No, he wasn't a drunk. Y'all drove him to drink because he tried to go around and tell everybody what was told to him by his ancestors, Enoch. They look, y'all, my great granddaddy told me about this. My granddaddy told me about this. Y'all ain't listening. I'm going to start building the ark. Y'all come up. And he tried and they ridiculed him. They criticized him. They called him an agent. Boop, park, let me stop right there. I did an etymological study on the meaning of the word angel. And I wanted to find out why the Westerners lied and twisted the definition of an angel. When I say angel, most of y'all get this image of a cherub flying around naked with a sheet wrapped around it with some wings, playing a goddamn harp, talking about, ooh, I made it with a halo. That's not what my studies reveal. My studies reveal that the word angel in its true form means two things: a messenger or an agent. So now I have to go back and say to all of those people who've been running around saying, well, he's an agent, she's an agent. You don't even realize that the words put in your mouth come from the Creator, who gave you the breath, the pneuma that he breathed into your body. That every breath that you take, every word that you utter is the breath that he gave you. So when you point your finger at someone that he sent, he would then even have you lifting up what he said while you think you tearing him down. When you say he's an agent, if you study the true meaning of the word angel, angel means just that. Someone who is sent as a messenger, someone who represents the Most High. So if he's an agent, then you just satisfied the definition of an angel. And sometimes it's the angel of mercy, and sometimes it's the angel of death. Either way, he's an agent. So when you sit back and you let your mouth part and you say that someone who's speaking on behalf of the Most High is an agent because they're trying to address the evils here on earth, you damn right. And you don't even realize that he's still taking what you meant for evil to make it used for good. I ain't got to pretend to be that I am, because I am that I am. And even if you came face to face with one, you wouldn't know it, because I've already taught you that angels don't fly around with wings and a halo. They were spirit creatures who looked just like men. They could eat like men, sleep like men. They could have sex like men, but they could do other things because they were not flesh bound. So the next time you run into an angel, you make sure that you call them what they are. They are messengers. They are agents of the Most High. I thought I had to give y'all that one for free on the Morning Mental this morning. Tell all your friends that can't get in, you can't get in. That's just the way it works. Because what I have for you is just for you. But getting back to him throwing a rock into the pond with this asteroid, which is known as 2018 Victor Papa 1. You can go look it up for yourself. I have a problem with that. You see, those of us who are a little bit of learned, we know for a fact that the name that they give to celestial objects is based on the year and how they found it. So if this is a 2018 VP1, that meant that you saw it in 2018 and now here it comes. But you keep changing the size of it. First, it was the size of a shoebox. Then it became the size of a TV. Then it became the size of here come the comedy. Then it became the size of a console TV. OGs know what I'm talking about. Y'all remember the console TV? The console TV was the thing that sat in your house, and these jokers was no joke. They was made of heavy ivory wood and oak wood. Your mama had one. Your grandmama had one. And in it, it had a record player. It had the radio. It had an 8-track that you could put your 8-track down in it. It had a TV in the front of it, and it had 2 big ass speakers on each side. And I hate to say it, bruh, but y'all remember the speakers used to bump and you could lift the top up. Y'all remember this? And you would lift up the top and your mama would have parties. Your dad would have parties. And oh yeah, you see, here we go. The old school people coming out. Y'all remember it was Zenith and some of them old brands that ain't around. Motorola. Motorola went on to some other stuff, but back then they used to make all of this stuff. Quasar. I'm going back in the day. Somebody stand up with me. But you had the component set. It was the console. And your mama had one, your dad had one, and it used to knock and they used to bump. Y'all remember those? You can't find those no more. The console. And believe it or not, I remember when hip hop first started, everybody ran home and tried to scratch a record on their mama's console. Worst ass whipping you ever got in your life. Y'all remember those days? You had the console. Y'all done took me back, made me laugh. But the point that I'm making, y'all stop. Y'all showing y'all age. Big shout out to all the children of the Most High. I see y'all this morning. Grand rising to you. We on the morning mental. Here's the problem. Then they said it was the size of a console. Oh my God. Did somebody say Magnavox? Y'all are showing y'all age this morning. We got grown folks up in here. Young folks take note. Anyway, somebody say toe up the needle. Eleanor Harvey, you told on yourself. I'm going to call your mama and tell her that you finally admitted that it was you that toe up the needle. Ozone Dread, big shout out. All my FLL people stand up. I'm letting y'all know we're going back in the day for y'all to understand. They said it was the size of a console. Then it changed to the size of a Volkswagen. Now they saying it's the size of a refrigerator, a big refrigerator. Either way, the question still arises. How did you see it in 2018? It would have to be a lot bigger for you to see it 2 years ago. Because lately, if y'all have been paying attention, there have been many reports of asteroids, meteors, whatever you want to call them, that have been flying by that they didn't see coming. They saw leaving, and they've been massive. Are we flying through a debris field? Maybe. Are we flying through the remnants of the comet that we talked about a few months ago? Maybe. But you want me to believe that this meteor that y'all been talking about now for 2 months steadily in the media is the size of a Volkswagen or the size of a console or the size of a shoebox, and you saw it 2 years ago, and it's going to hit when? Right before the election? I want to let you all know that the Most High has the final say-so in this game. And now here we are a few days away, and here it comes. And they trying to tell you about it, but they don't want to panic nobody. No, I'm going to have to shoot you down, King Silverback. We're not talking about Nibiru. Nibiru is the Sumerian word for planet of the crossing. This is no crossing. If Nibiru was pulling up, you wouldn't have to tell us it was coming on the second. We would see it by now. We would feel it by now. Oh, maybe we are feeling it. They just had a 7.5 magnitude earthquake in Alaska, and there are tsunami warnings all over the Pacific. Go back and do your research. It was back in the 50s or the 60s when we had one of the most powerful earthquakes that ever occurred on the North American continent, and it happened in Alaska. It was so powerful that the tsunami destroyed stuff in Hilo, Hawaii. That's how powerful it was. So they had another one last night, yesterday, 7.5. And for those of y'all who've never lived or set foot in the great state of Alaska, I've had the pleasure and the displeasure of spending 4 years at Fort Wainwright, Alaska, which is in Fairbanks, Alaska, which sits north of the Rocky Mountains on the plain, not down where you go for vacations down in Anchorage. No, come over top of the Rocky Mountains and meet us out in the middle of nowhere, next to the middle of nowhere, in a state that is twice times the size of Texas, but only has about 500,000 people in the whole state. If you want to visit the true great frontier, if you want to go and get away from all civilization, you take your ass up to Alaska. I lived there for 4 years, and though it was a great place to visit, saw a lot of weird shit, it's not a place that I would ever want to go back to or a place that I would want to live. But I will tell you this, if they had an earthquake along that tectonic plate and it starts shaking, that means that there is a massive gravitational pull on this planet and it is shaking. So whatever the hell is coming, we got to stop for part one. I'll be back for part two.